everyone, and welcome to the live stage at the Burbank Card Show, day number 3. We've got StakNSports up here. Here's Nick. Here's Steve. We are going to be live, Hobbzi.live, live streaming everything all day long. Hello to all of our viewers at home. Hello to our beautiful people out here. You guys can't see, but there is a mass of people in these seats right now. It's crazy. Everybody give a woo. There we go. Hey. Unfortunately, they're all Dodgers fans, so just kidding, guys. There you go. So, yeah, again, StakNSports, Nick, Steve, you guys take it away. Enjoy. Let's do it.
Will do. Appreciate you having us. We are here for a good time, not a long time.
Yes,
but
sir.
we got a couple things we want to talk about today.
Yes.
Sports cards, how we got started, content creation, tips, tricks, how we got started there, anything that we failed from,
right?
All that stuff, origin story, all that fun stuff. So first off, how did I meet Steven? Steve, where did we meet?
So Nick and I have been best friends pretty much since like middle school, I'd say, right? Lakeview. 7th grade. We've been going to the same like middle school, kindergarten, all that stuff, but it was really in Lakeview, right?
Yeah.
That's where we first started to meet. Obviously the friendship continued through high school and stuff. But then, I mean, really where kind of StakNSports started was slowly after college, right?
Yeah. Well, I'd say like during college. I think during COVID, you know, I was like doing the flipping of the swimming pools.
Yeah,
like
the Xboxes.
The Xboxes on eBay, all that stuff. And then I was like, yo, like, I've always wanted to do YouTube. I've always wanted to do that.
Right.
And then we hit up Robert, and I was like, let's try this.
Yeah.
And so I remember the first video we ever filmed. Do you remember what it was?
Oh,
it was in my backyard.
Yes, yeah. I wasn't there, but I do remember that. Yeah, it was the you were like showing off just cards.
Yeah, I was just showing off like, hey guys, like it was very, very weird, awkward.
Yeah.
Like, hey guys, this like I think it may still be on YouTube. Like these are my cards I've got right now. I just want to show you guys how I make money.
Right.
And I was like showing off all my cards. So we started there, and then we started going to like card shows. I think we did like some tips and tricks kind of stuff.
Yeah, because we did we obviously, it was like July 2021, I think it was the first video.
Yeah.
But then you were doing stuff kind of just solo, and I was helping you. Like, I know, like, you were doing, like, the kind of a live stream thing, or, like, we were set up something through OBS.
Yeah.
But we didn't really start until, like, fully, it was that Chicago Sports Spectacular in, like, November.
Yeah,
we recorded our first card show vlog, and, I mean.
And we were recording on, like, iPhone back
then. Yeah.
Yeah, and did we have I don't even know if we had a tripod.
I don't think we did.
No. So, like, bare bones, like, first thing, no matter what, if you're ever like looking to get into content, just start. Like, don't ever like, oh, like I put it off here, put it off there. Like, the first video doesn't have to be anything crazy. The editing doesn't have to be anything crazy. Just like the biggest obstacle I think for people is like just getting started. Like, I would have started in high school. I would have started in middle school if I wasn't scared of like, oh, like people making fun of me, people like being like, oh, like he's doing something weird, and like. Still, there's people that I like see from high school, from middle school, and they're like, "What the heck are you doing? Like, what are you doing on YouTube? What are you doing on Instagram? Whatever." Like, people think I'm crazy, and it's like, I'm doing what I like. I'm doing what I love. Like, who really cares? The only person that it matters is me.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, that's for everything too.
Right. But. Yeah, because I remember we like first filmed on we filmed on my iPhone. I was I had an iPhone 8 still for like a year. And then we were like switching it, like when we first went to our big show in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Like I was using your phone to record, and like you were looking at mine for comps, but like we still did it. Like we weren't scared. Like obviously it wasn't the best quality, and like we've upgraded since then. But just starting somewhere, you put your foot in the door, and then you know you never know what can happen from it. So
exactly. Just getting started is the most powerful thing. But what do you think? Like, was the first video that we made, or maybe the first video that you saw, like, oh dang, like we edited this and then it went crazy?
Oh yeah.
I think the first one that comes to mind, at least, there was like one video that we put on Instagram and it got like 1.5 million views.
Oh, the one with the little kid?
Yeah, the one. And I was like, dang, like we didn't even edit that for very long, or we didn't even do very much, and like got 1.5 million views. And that's when I realized, like, oh crap, like Facebook gets you views.
Facebook,
yeah, the power of Facebook is like insanity. Like you think that, I'm just posting this on Instagram, but in reality, if it gets out
everywhere,
it's going everywhere. And share it with that person, share it with this person.
Yeah.
That's why we like to post like on multiple platforms now.
Yeah.
Too.
I mean, we post on TikTok, YouTube Shorts. We also do Instagram Reels and stuff like that. But a lot of that from Instagram just goes to Facebook. Like most of our most popular videos, the ones that hit like 1 million, like 2 million views, like they all are from Facebook.
Yeah.
Most of the time, at least. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't sleep on those boomers. The boomers are the ones that are watching the videos most of the time.
Because now that you say that, the little kid video, but I actually do remember the first video that blew up.
Atlanta?
It was Atlanta with that Blackhawks card, right?
Oh, yeah, the Patrick Kane Young Guns.
Patrick Kane Young Guns, yeah. That video went crazy.
And I don't know why. I don't know if it was just like the retention time was really good on it.
Right.
I mean, you should be engaged that whole video. That's the number one thing that like is key for Instagram, I feel like, is retention time. Is like, all right, are they watching from the beginning of it to the end of it? And then are they watching it again because they didn't pick up on something?
Over and over again?
Yeah. That's something
like
that's super key.
Yeah.
But what do you think would be any sort of tip that you would give to anybody that's like starting in content?
Starting in content.
Like, I want to...
Yeah, I mean, consistency is major. Obviously, you don't want to, put out something that you're not proud of and stuff like that, but if you're consistent with uploading and editing and turning over content day or weekly, obviously that gains traction over time. But then another thing, obviously you want to have good quality. Like some people, it's always like, quality over quantity. I mean, that is true, but you also at the same time want to keep in mind that you're putting out a consistent amount of stuff, because if people keep seeing your stuff over and over again, they're like, I know this guy, like I see him everywhere. But if you're gone for like 2 or 3 weeks, like in terms of social media, like it can affect everything. Like you're just off the face of the earth.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
And that's basically what we decided to do, was like, all right, like I can't get to all the editing. I can't edit all the YouTube videos because like it's too much work for people to do. People think like, you just edit the video, you film it, you do this. Like I give so much props to the people that like will film a video today and have it out tomorrow.
Yeah,
like that is crazy.
Yeah.
We could barely film a video today, or film a reel or a short form content video today and get it out tomorrow. Like that's
difficult.
It's not impossible, but it's very difficult to do. So my main suggestion would be just delegate it. Like if you can find an editor that's really, really good at it, thankfully I found you, or find someone that could film your content, get them to do that. Yeah. Because it's so difficult to find.
It is.
When you find a good person, it's so hard to keep them too.
Because we didn't really touch on it, but obviously for those you don't know, I'm Steven, but I'm the videographer and main editor for StakNSports. But Nick here, this is his full-time job in the card business. I have a different job outside of here, but like Nick, all of his dedication is going into the card side of it. So I'm like, my main job is to help assist with like editing and stuff like that, because it's so hard to do like all of it at once, like especially as a full-time job.
Yeah. And like I remember you told me like it's probably like 2-3 months ago, you're like, dude, I don't know how you like keep up with the comp thing. Like there's so much going on, and like there's so much to account for, and like
it's crazy.
I love the flipping side of it.
Right.
But like if you're doing the flipping and like if
buying,
you're doing the
selling, trading, traveling, listing.
Now I'm doing the repacks. I'm doing the.
There's so much
going on, and like then you got to do the filming, the editing, all this.
Yeah.
And then you like also I'm trying to reach out to brands and do this. It's like there's only so many hours in the day. So like with this, I've realized like I've got to sacrifice time with friends or sacrifice time with family, blah 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 blah.
Exactly.
There's things that's got to be sacrificed to grow this baby if I want it to be something
from
bigger.
The ground up.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's just a 3-man team. Our boy Robert isn't here. He's back home. Yeah, unfortunately, shout out Robert. But yeah, it's just a 3-man team. Kind of just started it back in late 2021, like fully, and then in the beginning of 2022, we were like, let's just try the card show vlog thing, because like I said, Nick at first was doing like other stuff, like just showing off cards, but then we were like, let's just go to shows. Started traveling, obviously Atlanta, the last Burbank I've been to, Dallas.
What's the biggest shows we've been to? Dallas, Burbank,
the last Burbank, Atlanta. I mean, we've been some like
Shipshawana. I mean, like we've got some big ones.
Midwest Monster. That was another like local kind of one we drove to.
Yeah. The Spectacular, the National.
The National, obviously.
Yeah, the National is always fun. So we're trying to get out to more of the bigger ones, but it's just like people don't realize, like, oh, all right, think about flights. So, like, flight here, $350, so $700. And then food, let's account for, like, $120 for each of us, so that's $240. So we're already over $1,000. So I got to make $1,000 just to pay for our expenses to come to this trip.
Yeah.
To cover everything. Plus I got to pay you money. And like, people are like, "Oh, you just come out to the show. It's fun." Yeah, it is fun, and it's fun to travel. And we haven't even accounted for the hotel either. So like, we're well over $1,300 already.
Yeah.
So people think it's like all fun and games, but in reality, like you have to. Like I'm trying to film as much content here, but at the same time, like we've got to make money.
Yeah, because like I said, at the end of the day, like this is your full-time job. This is your business. You got to make money. Like the concept stuff's fun, and that helps grow the business. But at the same time, like you got to level it out. Like how much can you do without sacrificing, you know, the money you're gonna make and stuff like that. Yeah.
If we, we'll bounce this question off. I think both of us got answers for this. If we could start the page over again, 0 followers on Instagram and all other platforms, what would you do differently than what we did at the beginning? Like, what do you think that's working right now that we could implement and make the page grow a lot exponentially faster?
Right. I mean, I feel like something that we're going to drop is like the card shop aspect. So we're going to drop like a card shop like interview tour thing. I think that could be something that if we started a while ago, like reaching out to people, that could have been something that's big. Maybe, obviously, the interview stuff we started doing recently, I think that's just great for content because it's a lot of interaction between the viewer and the person, you know?
Yeah.
Seeing what type of answers they give and then, replying in the comments like, oh, I don't think this should have been number 1 or something like that.
Yeah.
So probably, like I say, interviews, obviously, like the vlogs, keep doing that, but maybe on a more, I don't know, a different view take on it or something. Because, like, obviously everyone's card show vlogs, like, they know what they are. They're pretty simple to like understand and stuff like that, but maybe something different in it. But I'd probably say the interview stuff and then like maybe card shows or card shops and then like maybe more tips and tricks in there because like obviously like some of our best videos have been the tips and tricks. Like they don't start off well on YouTube, but they're like very slow risers. Yeah, like the Epson one I looked the other day, it has like 7,000 views.
Yeah.
And it's like we posted it in a day, it only had 200 views, but like people look that stuff up over time and they see like, oh, like this is a really good scanner for cards and stuff. So I would say that's probably one of the things. What would you change?
I was thinking more like it's definitely something that I focus on like a ton now, but like relationships with people on Instagram, whatever, like just like talking to people at these shows.
Yeah, networking.
And then like networking's so huge, but like I'm even thinking like flipping wise, and this leads into content. Like all right, like I'm at 260, he's at 220. If we could get to 240, cool. But if it's someone that like, don't view it as like a thing like, oh, like I'm trying to work my way up the ladder. Like, oh, like if I do the 220, like I'm gonna be able to get something from him.
Right.
But like sometimes when you do that deal for 220, it'll bring you $10,000 in business that you don't have right now.
Yeah.
But like
it
it'll
just gives
come
you
down the line.
Down the line, so you got to think of that in terms of like future consideration.
You're losing the. Maybe you bought the card for 240 and you have to sell it for 220.
Yeah.
But that $20 is going to go so much longer in the long run when they're passing business on to you.
Oh yeah, and then recommending you to other people. Yeah.
And the same thing in content. Like, all right, like I talked to this person yesterday, and then they're like, "Yo, like I really liked making content with you." You're walking around with them at a show.
Yeah, let's do it again.
Let's do it again, and then they see another bigger person in the hobby be like, "Oh, you should make content with him. He's he's a great guy."
Yeah.
So I think little collaboration, little talking with people, getting to know people is something that's massive that people should try to do more.
For sure, yeah. I mean, you've obviously interacted with some of the biggest names in the hobby and stuff like that. We were talking to Mojo last night, Seablez, and just like other big creators and stuff. But yeah, like really collaborating, and then they see your face on their pages with their followers, and they're like, oh, I recognize this guy, let me give him a follow. Like I like his content.
And like sometimes they'll repost your stuff, sometimes like it's never like a thing like, oh, like I'm trying to work. Don't ever look at it as like, oh, I'm trying to work my way up the ladder of like, oh, I'm gonna work with this guy and then he's gonna start reposting my stuff and then I'm gonna get to all his followers. Like no, it's like be a good person, and then if you're a good person, good things will happen. That's how I always feel.
Yeah. No, I agree, definitely.
How/why do you think a lot of people fail in content?
I mean, probably just the consistency aspect. I mean, I feel like a lot of people, they try it, or like you said, they don't even get started. Like, someone could be like, oh, I really want to do this, and then just never does it. Like, never just pulls out their phone or camera or just starts hitting the record button. But also, like, they do it once, they don't like how it looks, and they're like, I'm done. But, like, the first time in anything, it's not going to be perfect. Like,
No.
Like, our first video was, like, looking, like you said a couple months ago, like, you're like, oh, man, looking back at our content, like, it was so bad, but, like, it went, it keeps going up and up, like, the quality and how it looks and the editing and all that stuff. Like, obviously, at first it's not going to be great, but then again, like, no one's expecting it to be, like
Perfect.
Class A production, like, on your first video. Like, they're going to realize that it's just you starting out, so.
We'd love to have a budget like Sports Card Investor over there, but unfortunately we are not there yet.
One day.
It's just what I make at the shows, investing in a camera, buying a mic, and little by little. And, like, we're not spending 25 hours to edit one video. I'm not saying that they're doing that either.
Right,
but, like, the production doesn't have to be, like, the absolute best. Like, you could be your best at that time.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be amazing.
Amazing, yeah. Because people still, at the end of the day, like, they care about, like, you, the person, and they want to follow your journey. So, like, even if it's not perfect, they're going to still continue to follow you. Like, a lot of, like, some of Nick's, like, closest friends in cards and stuff like that, they're like, yeah, like, I don't care, like, what you do. Like, I just like following your story, like, where you've started and where you're going.
Yeah.
Like, so we post, like, random videos. Like, we started doing, like, street interviews in, like, Wrigley Field. Started doing, like, garage sale hunting videos.
Yeah, those are super fun.
Sneaker con videos. But, like, there's still a good amount of people that still watch those. And, like, obviously they're not going to get the same views as the card videos because we don't have the same audience. But, like, still so many people care about, like, the business and, like, the brand of StakNSports. So
I think it, like, I've started to realize, like you said, like, people follow the page for us and, like, what we make. And it's, like, I mean, is there, like, a big portion of people that only follow for the cards? Yeah. But that's fine. Like, I think my goal is not to be known as the guy that does cards long term and more of
just flipping.
Someone that's just a flipper. Like, I'd love to have my own personal collection of, like, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 cards at some point.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm just not financially there to have something like that right now.
Yeah.
It'll come.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's going to come.
Yeah, in time.
With time. But, like, I just want to make content that I'm proud of. Like, I made, like, when we went to Wrigley Field, video didn't do as well.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, I enjoyed making the videos. And
but, like, some of the short form videos have done really well, like, on Instagram and TikTok. So, I mean, and, like, people like that type of stuff. So
I think that's something we could also talk about. Like, I think interruption number one.
Number one.
Keep going? Okay. All right. Also, another thing that's, like, I think people sleep on is, like, taking a long form video and trying to cut that up into as many clips as possible. I think the short form clips is something that you should utilize no matter what. If that's on shorts on YouTube, if that's TikTok, if that's Instagram, like, if you're making a long form video and it's 12 minutes long, you've got to figure out a way to edit some of those clips down.
Yeah, and just post them weekly or, bi-weekly and stuff like that. Because, like, people, I mean, we've already talked to this numerous times with people last night and tonight, like, people's attention spans nowadays are just so short. They're not going to watch the whole video. Like, you can just even see it in our, like, analytics. Like, it just keeps going down and down and down more in the video. It's not even like it's a bad video. It's just people are like, I got to do other stuff, or I'm just not going to watch this whole thing. It's just like,
all right, I mean, that's something that we got to get better at, but it's like, all right, like, I've already seen what I've wanted to see out of this video.
Yeah,
like,
I'm done.
Like, the greatest videos are the ones that, like, can keep you the whole time, and you don't see retention go down, like, woof, like, down, like immediately.
Huge spike. Yeah.
Like, that's why Mr. Beast stuff is so good, because
Oh,
his retention time is, like, the whole entire
It's
time.
the
You're never
entire
clicking off that video.
Yeah, he breaks records week in week. Yeah. That
Like, I
guy's
mean,
insane.
it's something we got to get better at, but like, from this is a 40, 35-minute video, but we could cut this up hopefully into 5, 10, 20 clips. Like, that's what you ideally want to do from a video like this.
Exactly. Yeah. One thing I was gonna bring up, because I mentioned it earlier about you and doing this full time, like, kind of, I guess, give the people, when did you first, like, all right, I'm gonna go into cards full time, I want to do this as a business, and I guess, like, what have been the biggest struggles and also, like, positives from, you're your own business, you work from home or from traveling and stuff like that. So I guess kind of the positives and negatives of it.
Yeah, so I started, like you said, in 2021, and at that time I was living at home, and it was nice because I had no expenses of like, all right, this was rent, this, like I was paying my car insurance then and my car bill, but like now it's like I got to pay food, I got to pay rent, I got to pay this, I got to pay that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more expenses. But I started then after I've been flipping since like 7th grade, 8th grade, if that was, like you said, like used stuff from Goodwill, things that were reselling at Target, Walmart, Meijer. I did pools,
right?
Xboxes, PlayStations, all that stuff. So now, or back in 2021, I was like, okay, I'm going to start doing cards. And I was doing a lot of wax, and then I got into selling singles at July, August time. I started setting up at shows. I was like, dang, this is pretty cool. And I started to realize, like, the importance of relationships in sports cards.
Right,
and, like, all right, like, if I'm cool with this guy that runs a show, he'll give me a better spot at the show.
At the
than
show versus,
like, for example, like, EJ's a great guy. He runs the show, but I don't know him that well. So I didn't get a prime real estate spot at this show.
Yeah.
The people that know EJ really, really well got an amazing spot at the front of the show.
At the front,
and they did, and they're able to do a lot better because when you first walk into the show, the people who are looking to sell, they're going to go to the people that are right up there.
Yeah.
So I realized, like, oh, relationships are super, super important. Things that I've learned is, like, it's expensive to travel to a lot of these shows.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of costs
and keep up with. Yeah. All right, like if you don't, like, for example, like if I don't list for a week, I can lose a bunch of money.
Right. Yeah.
And you got to be keeping up with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, just staying consistent in everything you do, but so hard to multitask in a business like this because there's so many different aspects of it. Like, it's not just buying and selling cards, it's trading them with other people, like trying to buy collections, like repacking, like other products and stuff like that. There's so many different avenues in this,
and
which is crazy.
I think, like, one thing that I've kind of faded away from recently, but like dollar boxing and the way that, like, setting out dollar boxes could be something that
was big back in all last year. I feel like you did that a lot.
Oh, we did that a ton. Recently, I just haven't done it as much, just because I've been utilizing Hobbzi a lot, and like I don't mind listing stuff on eBay. Dollar cards, I kind of just anything like under $3 to $4, I kind of just put in our dollar box, and I'm like, I don't really like. I don't want to go through the hassle of having to list this or having to do that.
Yeah.
And I'd let someone else make money, because my view is always like, let someone else make money because they're going to come back again.
They're going to come back and want to do more business.
Exactly.
With you. Yeah.
Like, there's times when I sell, like, I've got a guy where I sell all my patches and autos to, Nathan. And whenever, like, there's probably cards that are like $3, $4, $5 in there, but I'm like, no matter what, he's gonna take my autos and patches at $1. So like, because he's like, I'm gonna make money on him regardless. Use it that way.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't have to do the work of like having to get rid of this because I've already got 10 other things that I have to be doing already. So one thing I've learned is I said this earlier, but like delegating work is like something that's super important in all businesses that I didn't realize at the beginning. It's like, oh, I got to do everything to make it as cheap as possible. But in reality, when you delegate work and like, all right, maybe it costs money to bring you here, or maybe it costs money to have someone list for me, it makes sense in the end because like if you're getting more work done, that's all that really matters.
Right, yeah.
The only other things that I was thinking of, positives and negatives that you've seen of doing content in this space. Like, what do you think? Do you think like there's times when like people don't want to do deals with us because they're like, oh, they got a camera in his face?
Yeah,
or like,
I mean, that one's tough because I don't know. Like, people just like look. I feel like when they see a camera, like they just look differently. But like maybe they aren't actually like mad or like upset with recording. But you always just kind of get that little like thing in the back of your head, like, okay, like is the deal gonna change because of this and stuff like that. But I mean, there's so many people doing that now. It's like it doesn't really matter. Like, I feel like people don't care as much, but still, especially out here versus like back home.
Back home in Chicago, like there's some people when they see a camera, they're like, "Put that thing away," or like. I remember one funniest interaction that I think I've ever had whipping a camera out in somebody's face was we took the camera out and the guy's like, don't put me on camera. I have a arrest warrant out.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
yeah.
and
that
I'm
was
like,
really weird. I was like, okay.
I'm like, okay, like
we'll
I guess I'll put the camera away then.
I don't want to cause
like,
any more trouble.
I don't want to get you in trouble for anything.
Right.
Anything else that you're thinking of right now?
I mean, there's a lot of good content in the space, but like I said, I feel like a lot of it's pretty similar because, like, obviously everyone's doing the card show vlog thing. I mean, some people are, I guess, doing different stuff. Like, we're trying to branch out and do different, like, interview-based stuff. But, I mean, it's all good content in the end. Like, the space, like, when I first started with this, like, I was surprised when I was, like, talking to Nick, I was like, how does no one, like, there's only, like, 5, like, big YouTube channels. Like, if that, like, there's not that many people creating content. So we were like, we could start this. I mean, we were like, oh, like, we'll just get the camera out. Like, it doesn't have to be the best quality, but we'll start somewhere. And then now we're ended up here.
Yeah,
in California.
And in California, yeah. It doesn't have to be something that's like I said earlier, like, it doesn't have to be no sports card investor, like, quality stuff.
Yeah.
Like, kudos to them. They're able to put, like, great content out at, like, a massive pace. Like, they probably have tons of Burbank videos out already this week.
Right.
We're just not there. And that, I think people, like, even if you're, like, going to, like, your local show, like, it doesn't have to come out right away. I know people want to see that. The quicker you can, cool.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be perfect. Like,
yeah.
Strive for perfection, but settle for, damn, that was really good, or that was really great for, like, where I started.
Yeah.
Like, go back and watch your old stuff. Like, man, we could go back to the hotel tonight and watch our old stuff and then be like, wow, I can't believe that's where we were and where we are now.
Yeah.
We started wearing mics now. We got a little bit of everything going.
Exactly, yeah. I was gonna say, what's been your favorite video on the channel so far?
Favorite?
I think mine has got to be the card stereotypes. Like, that was definitely the funniest and most entertaining, like, recording and setting up.
Yeah. Because it was all three of us that made that video,
me,
too.
Nick, and our buddy Robert, who just filmed, like, just skits about card show stereotypes and card people in the hobby. It was just hilarious.
I think that's probably one of my favorites just because, like, I felt like I came up with a lot of those ideas in the way that, like, it's, like, stuff that I've seen. And, like, so many people, like, relate. They were like, dude, I agree with this. This is amazing. And I'm like, all right, like, I've got something right. My other thing, like, I like content that's, like, controversial in the way that, like, half the people agree with it and half the people don't.
Yeah.
And when I made that video last week of, like, the comp video, I felt like so many people were against it, so many people were in favor of it. Like, we've already had, like, 20 people probably talk to us about it this weekend. So,
either, like, liking it or hating it, or using it against you. Like,
And like, when you're controversial, I feel like something is going right. As weird as that may sound,
right? Yeah.
Like, if people, like, highly agree with it or highly disagree with it,
it's starting a conversation at the very least. Yeah.
And I'd probably say, like, the other thing that I'm most proud of, at least this year, was when we bought the 1,000,000 card collection.
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
And we can go into detail about that right now. Like, we never, like, the problem with that collection was, like, I bought it with one of my friends who's here at the show, who doesn't like to, like, we learned along this process, like, he doesn't like to be on camera, and that's cool. Like, I mean, he didn't like the camera being in his home, and he didn't like the camera being there.
Yeah.
If I could do it all over again, we would have delivered it to my house.
Oh yeah, 100%. It was just a quicker drive too. Like, to get, like, even you to drive there, and, like, us, like, it's 40+ minutes and, like, traffic and stuff like that. But
so there was a lot learned from that. Like, all right, like, content at the beginning, like that. I think not even the first video, but, like, the first reel that we put out from that, like, I think easily got, like, 200,000 views.
Oh yeah,
and
it was nuts. Because it started recently. My dad kicked me out of the house for, like, a card addiction or something like that. It was so funny.
Did he kick me out of the house? Not really, but, like, I had.
It was a perfect way to
like,
go into the video.
I think one thing that I've learned is, like, you don't ever fake it, but at the same time, like, use words to somehow, like,
to your advantage, I guess, or something like that.
Like, I wasn't kicked out of the house, but, like, I had to leave the house because my dad was moving, and then I had to move out to my own place. So I was able to use, like, I was kicked out of the house.
Yes.
But that was such a learning experience of, like, all right, I'm never buying 1 million cards
for your
ever
business.
again.
Yeah, that looked insane.
It was
like, I know you guys unloaded it or loaded it into a U-Haul for like 12 hours.
Yeah,
like
the sweating,
your backs were probably like
the back
killing.
pain, and then like having to go back and forth from Mitchell's house. Like it was just like
a grind.
no fun. It was a grind of like.
Yeah.
And like, did we make money? Yeah. We hit a double, bought it for 12, sold it for like around, I'm gonna say around 24. Like, yeah, like it was fun, but it was so much time put in, and I think that I could have made more money in that time.
Just doing other stuff.
Yeah,
flipping. Is it worth it?
But I think like it taught me like, all right, give me the fast flipping with repacks now, how we're doing repacks.
Yeah.
Give me that instead of the slow burn, like low-end inventory stuff. Like, that stuff's fine.
It takes months and months and
yes.
months.
And
wow.
And I'd rather have now the buy a shave. We just did a deal upstairs.
Yeah.
Buy a shave for $200 and be able to flip it when I get home for $250. Like
exactly.
Like I'd rather have that now than the all right, buy a deal for $12K and then like within 4 months flip it for 24 and make $12K. Like give me that slow that little margin, but at a massive rate, and
it's just going to keep going up and up, up and up and up. Yeah.
Like I'm hoping one day we get into the buy a card for $30K, flip it for 32 within an hour, but I'm not there yet. I don't have the cash flow.
Right. Yeah.
And we can get into that too. Like I think people like look at. I love a lot of these like big influencers in the space, but people are like,
because they're showing off cool cards.
Yeah,
I mean, like they're like
really,
crazy
cool,
cards. Like
really,
even
really
like someone like kind of me, I'm like not as into the hobby as like buying, selling, trading like as my job. But like some of these cards are crazy, and like it does attract attention because you're like, holy crap, like it's $100,000 card.
Like you bought that.
Yeah.
NT Mahomes for like you're seeing an influencer buy it for $50K. You're like, dang, like. That's what I have to do if I want to start making money in cards. And it's like, no. You could go and flip the $20 card and turn it into 30 and then take that 30, turn it into 40. Like, little by little by little.
Yeah.
And, like, unless you have stupid amounts of money to get started with, it's not possible. Especially, like, me, someone who didn't, like, I didn't grow up with much money. And then, like, when I moved out, I didn't have much money.
Yeah.
And now I've got, like, other expenses to pay for.
Yep.
Like, I can't go out and buy a $25,000 Anthony Edwards auto and then flip it for 27. It's just not
possible. I feel like that's how, like, the brand StakNSports is. Like, it's just a couple of normal, young teens, early 20s starting out, like,
learning at the same time.
Learning experience. And, like, we're showing through the YouTube and stuff, like, how Nick is doing this as his full-time job. And, like, realistically, someone could start this and, like, take the device and like use it as well. So
I wouldn't suggest coming into cards full time.
Oh yeah, that's gotta
if I could do it all over again, like start selling sports cards all over again, I would have done it completely different. I would have like stacked up like $25,000 worth of just cash, and then would have quit my full time job.
And then you had all of that to spend.
And then I would have all that money, but because at the beginning I was like I don't have that much money. I have to pay for rent. Like I remember I had to sell one of my favorite cards, like that McDavid RPA.
Yeah,
I had to trade out of it at like 14,000 trade and then sell everything at like 11,000 just to be able to pay for some expenses because I didn't have the money. So if I started all over again, I would go and work a job and then get to like 25,000, if not more. If you could start with 100,000, great.
Yes,
but like good for you, but I would not start it like, oh, I just graduated college. I've got like $3,000 to my name. Would not do that. I would stack your bread a little bit more than I did at the beginning.
Is that still your biggest deal to date?
My biggest deal to date is my Josh Allen Black Velocity PSA 10 that I bought like a day before. And then I flipped it, I think, for like $14,000-15,000 trade, and then got rid of all that other stuff like that same day.
Yeah.
So that – I like to deal more in the, like the, for eBay stuff like 10 to 60 range, and then like the repack stuff like 60 to 250. I'll touch like the more expensive cards, but nothing usually over 2K. It's just not my, I don't think that like the average person can do it, can afford it. I think that a lot of the dealers here can afford, like some of the dealers
here.
Doesn't relate
to the viewers, like
at
home or wherever they're watching. Yeah.
And like I like that, like every time you come to our table at shows, like I'm always gonna have something new. Like it's never gonna be the same
stuff
ever
for
again.
months and months. Yeah. It's always new inventory. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And that people are like, oh, he's buying. I know he's buying.
Yeah.
He's
seen
always
his videos.
got
Or like I've seen him everywhere. He's buying. Like that guy wants cash or cards or whatever.
Buying, selling, trading, whatever. Like I've got my avenues to get rid of stuff.
Yeah.
I got my avenues to get stuff. I'm looking always for more avenues. So if you're ever looking to sell cards, I'm always interested.
Let them know.
But I don't know. I think that being transparent with your sellers and your buyers as well, like that's one thing that's been amazing for us. Like you tell people, hey, like this is what I'm going to get on it. This is what I want to buy it at. Just so I have a little bit of wiggle room. If I like, I'm buying this card at 300. I'd like to get it at 240, just in case I have to move it at 260. Like the comp goes down a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
So being transparent and honest with people brings customers back as well.
Yes.
Anything else you got on your mind?
I don't know. What was another question? I mean, I feel we already talked about it. Like, coolest card show we've been to. I mean, I think one of just the coolest experiences was when we went to Atlanta, but like. The trade night was at like the back of the Atlanta Braves stadium.
Yeah,
like, that was just
sick.
Crazy. I was like, we're literally just right next to the Atlanta Braves stadium. I was like, I don't know, pretty crazy for like cards and stuff like that.
Jesus. And then the last thing I was gonna say, like, what are your goals? And then I'll go into my goals for content, long term and short term as well. This could be your content as well.
Yeah. I mean, like obviously just like consistently like uploading and stuff like on the channel. And just, keeping it, I guess, up to date with, like, either vlog footage, like, tips and tricks, like, interview-based stuff, just so that, like, obviously people, the interaction and the retention span is just, obviously keeps going up and up and up. But, I mean, I guess just, like, I don't know, maybe expanding just to other avenues and stuff. And, obviously, we've talked about, like, developing partnerships with brands and stuff like that, just so we can find more avenues of, hey, like we can do this and then we can also do this, but then there's an aspect of like, oh, okay, like we're getting paid for it, so like it also helps with like expenses and stuff.
It's easy, like it's hard to come to a show when I've got to come and make $1,400 with nothing. That's
a lot.
With nobody like I don't have a deal with them or I don't have a deal with them
already.
And, like, I have to. I'm like it's relying on me
Yeah.
hunting inventory and then flipping it at the show or flipping it like that week so we can make some money to pay for the expenses for this.
Yeah.
I'd probably say like short term, it's like probably like you said, more partnerships, more talking to businesses and trying to work with them, reaching out to people. I mean like it's. I got to get better at reaching out to more people and being like, hey, this is what we can do. This is how I can help you.
Yeah, like this is
if you're looking to grow your brand.
Like, not resume, but this is like what we have so far in content and stuff like that. Yeah.
And then long term, I'd probably say like keep the card stuff, but also like not be known as like just someone in
just
cards.
Just a card guy. Like,
I want to be like known as some. All right, like he does flipping, he does cards, he does sports,
he does so many different things. Like he flips, but he's not just cards. Yeah.
But it's like. He's showing his journey and whatever he's doing, and it's not so much like, oh, he's great at this or he's great at that. Like it's more of like he does everything. And if you want to go for sports, this, that, I mean, we'll probably change in the next year. You never know. And what we're doing, always changing. But like, you can go to this person, you're gonna get 100% authenticity of that person.
In the content. Yeah. I mean, like even now, like there's a lot more sports stuff on the channel, like not just sports cards, just sports. So like
sports related content.
Yeah, stuff just about like players or teams or like who do you think's gonna like do good, like and why. Like I know you've been posting a lot about like MLB news, like with Ohtani and like.
And we'll be doing a lot more NFL news in the next couple of weeks too.
Yeah.
But it's just like it's kind of dry right now, and I think like but. As weird as it sounds, like a lot of people in cards don't even know what's going on in sports right now.
Which is like crazy. Yeah, they just know about the player and like the grades.
And the whole reason I got into sports cards is because I love sports.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, like I could buy this player, and then like, or I could watch this player, and I'm like, oh, like I think he's gonna go up, and then you buy him, and then he goes up like 20%, and you make money on it.
Yeah.
Like, and then some people are like. oh, I just buy the card because like I think he's a cool guy or he's got a lot of followers on
Right.
Instagram, and like
Yeah.
that's cool. You could do it that way, but like if you're following the sports, you know exactly why he's going.
We've
up and
both
down.
been playing sports our whole lives and like following sports. Like we've done fantasy hockey together. Like no one probably even does fantasy hockey. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, but like we've been doing that stuff forever and just I guess different sports related stuff, but never ever filming it and stuff like that. So
the last thing I wanted to touch on is just like card show wise. What do you think? Like we went to SneakerCon earlier this year. What do you think could be implemented from SneakerCon into card shows?
I
think
the trading pit, but like in a different way. I like that they had that. Yeah,
like they've got this kids trade zone here, but I think like they had that, like you said, that trading pit where like people were trading shoes, but like it wasn't like a table. Like you didn't like you couldn't put your cards or your shoes out at a table.
Exactly.
I think it'd be cool if there was like, yo, if you want to go trade, you go here.
There's a whole section for it. But if you want to buy off like dealers or other people, like specifically, like you go to this other section or something like that. Yeah.
I also think they should just more focus on like the younger generation sometimes too. Like I like that this kid zone, but like a lot more of the local shows, it's like these
there's
old
nothing.
Yeah, the old heads are like stuck in their ways sometimes, and I'm like, buddy, come on, be a little bit more I know he's trying to do the trade up challenge,
right?
But help him out a little bit.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of people back home that not like in a mean way, but they're just like Nick said, there's no like kid involvement in the card community, which is like sad at the same time. But it's like there's no like I love this because like you said, there's a whole entire section for kids, and free packs and all that stuff. So
yeah, and like when I think about the kid aspect of it, like if you think about like wax from when we were kids, we'd go to like Toys R Us, and when you could like pull good stuff, and it wasn't just
awesome.
like now you go to Walmart and it's like, all right, you're gonna like your potential of pulling something good is like almost impossible.
It's like you're playing with. It's a gamble, but like it's almost like an impossible.
Yeah,
it's
you're
impossible to win.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to win.
You're just dumping
your
money.
If they could make it more affordable for a kid to open up a pack and like actually pull something good, but at the same time, I think if they advertise to kids more of the flipping aspect, and they're like, dang, like I bought that for $5 and I sold it for $8, like that's cool.
I made a profit.
Yeah. So like, I think more it shows we should push kids to flip more, but not maybe the trade up challenge all the time and being like, yo, like this is how you search through a box, and that's where Ludex comes in. Like, all right, you can take a picture of this card, and he's got it at $5, and like last comps, like I scan it and it's like 15 to 20. Like,
it's like
I could buy that and then go to another table and go get maybe 12 on it, just because like they have to make a little bit of money too. But advertise flipping more. Maybe not as much gambling in the hobby. Like,
a lot
packs
of
are
gambling,
cool, but like, at least for someone like me, you can't be gambling all the time to make money.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Otherwise, like you won't. I mean, you could theoretically hit the big one and like profit off it, but you never will get everything.
Yeah. You never know.
Yep.
All right. Well, we really appreciate you guys having us here.
Thank you
so
much.
We had a great time.
Lovely.
The 2 days we were here, honestly.
You were up here 2 days.
We had 5 interruptions today. Lots of screaming from kids. Yeah, today, but
probably like 20.
Yeah, honestly, like 20 to 25. But
everyone at home, my trusty stagehand ran off with the other mic. But yes, unfortunately, these mics are so awesome that you barely heard any of that in the stuff. Cody, can you hear me? Is that there the whole time?
We found a microphone. We're chilling.
Sure. Yeah, it was. I thought
there we go.
Never mind. Matt didn't run off with it. But thank you guys for coming today. Everyone give him a round of applause. And everyone at home, if you missed it, you can catch all of our rewatches at Hobbzi.com. We have GM10 coming up next in about 15 minutes. Until then, we'll see you guys at the next show.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
Thank you.